Hi, this is Corey Newfer reporting with Gasamos, and I have with me the director of the debut film of the Chicago Latino Film Festival, Ventura, Pons. Ventura, I am going to do my best to. I'm a little starstruck right now.
I'll do my best too.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Your film, I think immediately I was struck by, this is a director who knows very well how to use music in a film.
Yeah.
And it literally added such a dimension and perfectly accompanied what was happening down to the lyrics.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if you can talk a little bit about that in terms of both use of song with lyrics and just regular scoring.
Yeah. This is a very interesting question. For many years, you know, I've done I've done already 23 movies. And a couple of years ago, I was preparing a musical. And I was trying to do a musical with songs of the new pop singers in Catalan that they are very good. They are a lot of young people that they do wonderful songs. And I was giving a glance to these composers, and I thought, oh, they are very good. And then when I had to explain this story, I thought, well, you are talking about a young boy, and it's the point of view of this young boy that tries to find his place in the world. You should use this kind of music. So I start listening to hundreds of songs, literally hundreds of songs, to find the right ones with the right words according to my screenplay. So it took a long time, but it was great. I had great fun. And at the end, everybody enjoys the music, which is very important.
Yes.
And they say that it's a very good score for the film. And I am glad that was my idea, my purpose.
Oh, I love it. Okay.
I know.
I was hoping it was like that. And
but it was a long work to be done. It was because those songs, they were not written for the film.
Wow.
I know. I had to discover the meaning, the deep meaning of each song that was good for the moment of the film and all that. And it took a long time, but I'm very proud of it, because I'm very proud of all these people that they work in Catalan nowadays in my country, and they are so good. And it's a pleasure to have them in a film of mine that I'm already a senior, to have young people in my film.
Absolutely. I mean, even when I was looking to find the name of the person who arranged the soundtrack, you had all the artists in there.
But the main one, the one who has done the few things that they go with guitar between one scene and another is Mazzoni. I use some of his songs, 3 or 4 songs of him.
Yeah, 2 instrumentals and lyrics.
And most of them, they are musics that they are not from Barcelona. And this is, I explained the story of a boy who is from a village and comes to Barcelona. And there is a little bit this confrontation between living in a city and coming from outside. So I choose musicians that they were not from the city. It's...
Your thoroughness is unbelievable. Because you take something that could be cliche, like the story of a young man who comes from the country and goes to the city to try to realize his dreams, but it's infused with such complexity.
Because life is complex. I tried to explain. I did this film because I'm a little, for many years we have lived like rich people in the Western world, mainly in Europe, in Spain. Rich people, and now we are very poor. And I think we were not that rich, and we are not that poor. And I didn't believe them when they explained this story that, we are rich and we are throwing the money away and all that. And I don't believe them now that the power that they say, there is nothing to be done and all that. And I think that you have to send a kind of positive message, I don't know the name in English, idea about that, everything is very difficult, but if you find in yourself, perhaps you can do something, you can change, you can do things, and you can go farther in a positive way.
Yeah.
And that you can find in yourself. You don't have to wait that the heaven will send you, you know, all the happiness in life. That the happiness is something that you have to arrange with the things you have, the few things you have around you that can help you if you have an idea.
So you bring up something that is interesting, this idea of wanting to send a positive message, to use your powers as a director and storyteller for good.
Yeah.
Is that something that has evolved over the years and over the films, or is that something that you found that is crucial, hope in the future? That
No, I
message?
thought at this moment, I thought that, you know, well, I didn't think that much, but what I have seen, because I have already seen the film in a few places in my country, and I saw it last month in Mexico, and it was presented also at the Lincoln Center, and it's going to travel very well. And the reaction that I received, that I didn't know that it was going to make so good. You know, because people say, oh, we need a story like that.
Yeah.
You know, we need now, and when I wrote, I wasn't aware that I was going to do a film like that. I thought, well, I like this idea.
Interesting.
Yes, and you have to be humble and say the truth. And the truth is that I like the story. I like the story of this boy that comes and has so many problems, and you know, and the old woman who is a bitch, and
Yes.
and all that, and the story of this woman at the end of their life, and this boy at the beginning of his life, and you know the fight between them, and at the end they meet each other. You know,
Yeah.
I truly believe about all that, but I didn't know that. I wasn't aware that once the film is done, it was going to have this very good reaction about, oh, the people saying, oh, it's so good to have a positive story nowadays, because
Yeah.
everything is negative. Is what I said you at the beginning. Everything is negative now. It is not everything negative. You can turn things in life. It's the willpower that changes things. You know, it's funny because I was reading the biography of Steve Jobs, and he was saying more or less the same thing. I said, oh yes, well, you know, the willpower that you have, you can do things, you can change things. And it depends on your mind, and your power, and your capacity of invention, of doing things in life.
Yeah, I love that there's so much complication in the movie that it's not just complication of this is a positive message, but it's also about how I can change and how I can change the crusty old people in my life.
Yeah.
Like there's hope for me yet, there's hope for you yet. So
Yeah.
there's a couple different ways that you address how you change for the better, and that it can be messy. I mean, these are not virtue. I mean, there's some dirtiness that happens here. It's like making sausage, you know.
Yeah.
And I loved that that you didn't sanitize this journey that David goes on, because it again reflects and honors just how complicated life can be, and
well, life is very complicated,
Yeah.
of course. He has a very complicated life. He comes from a village. He goes into town. He comes from a distracted family.
Yeah.
The mother leaves the father, and you know the family disappears. He has to live with that old woman. He's studying something that he's no good.
Yeah.
He wants to find a girl, and he doesn't have success. And it's a story of loneliness. Everybody's lonely. The old woman is lonely.
Yes.
The neighbor is lonely. The man at the bar is lonely. He's lonely.
Yeah.
And even that, you know, you can find, you can turn things in a positive way in life.
But I love that you because that could be easily a cliched chick flick sort of movie. Like, we can conquer all if we're together. So you come dangerously close to becoming cliche or cheap, and yet it is a rich, beautiful story.
Thank you, thank you. But you know, the reason perhaps it's not a cliche, is that I'm not afraid of truth. You know, I think I have tried to put the truth of many things that I have seen, because making movies, it's more or less it's projecting your regard to the audience,
Yeah.
and I have regard and I have looked many things. I know all these characters in real. I
Yeah.
know this old woman, and I know the neighbor, and I know the kids, and I've been so many
Have
bars.
they seen
and
the movie?
No, no. And you know the funny thing about this movie? Do you know how it started? Yeah, I don't know. You have read it in my web. Some years ago, I have a very nasty neighbor, and he said to me, "Oh, I have a friend in the village that he went to school with you." He said it me twice, and one day I was following the following day to a festival. I think it was to Toronto, and I found to a bookstore, and it was 7:45, and I said, "Well, do you have this book?" And I said, "Yes." Well, I come, and they say, "Hurry up because we close at 8." So I went downstairs, and in the moment I opened the door, there was this man from this village. He said, "Oh, I went to school with you." And I said, "Well, yeah, well, probably, but that was 50 years ago."
Yeah.
And I said, "Well, I bring a photograph that we were there." And I said, "Yes, but excuse me that I have to go to the bookstore." And he said, "Well, I'll accompany you." And I had to talk with him. And I said, "What are you doing?" And he said, "Oh, I have a boy living in Barcelona." And I said, "Oh, you have a son?" "Yeah, he's in his second year at university, and last year he had to live with an old woman." And I said, "Oh, yeah, because there is a program
Yeah,
of people living, all people that they have an apartment and they have place, and they share the apartment with young people." And we were walking, and I said, "Yes, and what does he do?" "No, that woman was terrible. She was a pain in the ass, but she did like to play cards." And she put the poison of playing cards into him, and now he's living with other companions in another. But he goes to play with her from time to time. So we arrived to the bookstore, and I said bye bye. I've never seen him again, and I thought, oh, this is a wonderful, a story. Someone, a young boy living with an old woman. They have to share a house.
Yeah.
She's a bitch, and
Yeah.
And then from that idea, I start to work on this scenario.
That is lovely.
Yeah. So it's life, and the bartender, it remembers me a lot of bartenders that I know. People that they are in their 40s. That they are in the middle of a crisis, or they have.
And they are wise as well.
They are very wise because they are wise. What you learn about talking with people and treating with people.
Yeah.
I'm sure that you see so many different ways of behaving in the people in the bars and all that. That if you follow them, you learn a lot.
Absolutely.
You learn a lot from people.
I was listening to this interview by the author of Dear American Airlines. He does a food column for the New York Times. I'm sorry, I can't remember his name right now. But he was talking about how people, when they're in bars, are living a life in extremis.
Yeah,
in extremes. They're drunk. They're too happy. They're too sad. And you see.
Yeah, and they say things to the bartenders that perhaps you don't dare to tell it to your couple or to your family, and you explain to them that maybe you know them and they are friends, or maybe you don't know them, and you explain stories that you would never dare to say anyone.
And I love how, so you use that as a device to move the plot along, but you also, I loved this, how you had him, David, talking to his brother on the computer in the bar too. And I'm glad you kind of throw it, well, I can't say too much, but I just thought that was so lovely, because there's a lot of movies out there where the characters don't have enough imperfection, or there's there's missing just one scene that will make us love them. Like a lot of people will say Jesus was too perfect, and
Yeah.
that's difficult to love him because you have to root around and search for the imperfections. And there are so many teeny little things that you had David do that were so real. Just when he would like hug his brother.
Yeah. Yeah. That was something that I discovered during the shooting. Usually I prepare everything so much. I'm a bloody perfectionist. But when you prepare well the things, then in the shooting you can discover a few things. This hugging thing
Yes.
comes. It was discovered in the shooting at the very beginning, and suddenly I said, "Oh, you should like hug the." And I said, "Do it like this instead," because my first idea was to hug even the computer.
Oh,
you know?
yeah.
Yeah, but I said, well, perhaps it will be better understood in this way.
I love it.
Thank you.
Okay. Ventura,
You've seen-
thank you so much for taking time out. And
No, it's been wonderful. I like talking.
Well, I
thought
love it.
when I have someone that has been studying the film so well, and I really thank you.
Well, thank you.
Thank
I'm
you.
sweating. Ventura Pons, wonderful director and recipient tonight of the Glory Award. Please come to all of the movies at Chicago Latino Film Festival. It will make your life better.